Now normally, I do not care about collectibles. I don't own any amiibo, I never really bought collector's editions, I don't care for figurines, or anything else like that. But there's one thing that I do want. A device that is legendary, one of a kind, and incredibly valuable. The 24 karat gold Game Boy SP. The holy grail, in my opinion. If anyone asks me which collectible would you want, it is this thing. Because I'm a huge fan of the Game Boy console, and having one made out of gold is the biggest flex ever. And Nintendo did make a couple of them. But when? What happened to them? And can they still be found? Well, today we will look into all of this and more, as a part of my lifelong quest of finding and owning one. When the Game Boy was released in 1989, it became a massive hit, ending up in the hands of gamers worldwide. And just like we saw with many other Nintendo consoles, they made better versions down the road, similar to the Switch Lite and OLED. And thanks to this, I was able to get one when I was younger, because at some point I got a Game Boy Color together with the first Pokemon games that Game Freak ever released. As you can imagine, I fell in love with it, and I can remember playing games on it anywhere, at home, over at friends, during road trips, always. And as time went on, I got the newer versions as well, like the Game Boy Advance. But then, I got the best version out there, the Game Boy SP with a backlit screen. It was great, and even years later, I still used it. But then I heard of the ultimate Game Boy SP, a limited edition that was made out of real gold. Now this story began a long time ago in 2004. Back then, Nintendo released 25,000 Zelda limited edition pack bundles that included the new Legend of Zelda The Minish Cap and a special Game Boy SP. Now the main difference with this Game Boy is that it was wrapped in gold, had a Triforce logo on top of it, and a Hyrule crest on the inside. Aside from that, it was a normal Game Boy SP, with the classic LCD screen capable of 32,000 colors at a 240 by 160 pixel resolution. However, the screen itself was the AGS-001 version, so it was front-lit, which didn't look as good as the backlit AGS-101 model. However, this wasn't all. Nintendo came up with a fun idea to sell all these bundles as fast as possible. They included the chance of winning a prize. Hidden inside just 6 of the 25,000 Zelda limited edition packs was a golden ticket that you could redeem for a special reward. If you stumbled upon one of these gold cards, you could turn it in for an ultra-rare Game Boy Advance SP, plated in real 24 karat gold. In total, only 7 were made. 6 of them could be obtained by finding these golden tickets, and 1 was obtainable through a giveaway for a website called Games TM. Although at this point, most people aren't sure if they actually gave one away, so there might only be 6 of them. I'm not sure. Now, as time went on, all of these tickets were found, and so these golden Game Boys are somewhere in the world, but neither Nintendo nor any of the winners have ever revealed where they are right now. There's only one piece of evidence that they even exist. These stock photos from an old listing that popped up on an online store, and some alleged photos posted on a Spanish blog. However, aside from that, they have never really been seen. Unless you want to count Nintendo's original advertisement graphic, but I don't. So, while they are real, we might have never seen them. So, are they really still out there? Well, I started digging. I mean, I would love to own one, so I had to do some research. And apparently, in 2019, L Supersonic Q, a YouTuber who hunts for lost media, found an authentic golden Game Boy that was listed on eBay. And at that point, a detail about these Game Boys came to light that really disappointed me. Because according to a user named Simon Watts that replied to the YouTuber's tweet, it isn't made out of solid gold. Nintendo just electroplated the golden hue onto the same plastic housing it used for all the others. This is a process of using electrodeposition to coat an object in a layer of metal. It is quite a simple process, and if you look around your house, you will see many examples of it. A good one is a common shower head. A lot of these are covered in a thin layer of metal using this exact process. And this means that the so-called golden Game Boy is just made out of plastic with a very thin layer of gold on the outside. It is nowhere near as exciting as the advertisement made you believe. And I find it all so disappointing that I'm not even sure if I still want it now. In the end, Nintendo was cutting corners, and so in no time, most of the gold would be gone if you actually used the thing. It just scratches off after all. And if you search online auction sites, you may see listings for a Nintendo Game Boy Advance SP Legend of Zelda Gold handheld system, but they're going for insane amounts of money. Most are asking for tens of thousands of dollars, and some want almost 100 grand. And these are prices for the common, non-gold plated version. You know, one of those 25,000 that was sold in the bundle? So those prices are just crazy. And nowadays, you can even get those shells. So it could be that these aren't even original, but just random Game Boy SPs that are reshelled. And the same could be said about the gold ones, because nowadays you can also find chrome gold shells, which make it look like real gold, but it's just plastic. It could even be that those online listings were fake. In the end, we can only be sure if someone trustworthy gets his hands on one with proof of its legitimacy. And so the hunt continues. But at this point, I started wondering, how much would a real, solid, 24-karat gold Game Boy SP shell cost? Well, for fun, I decided to calculate how much it would be, and how heavy the console would become. First, I had to figure out how much a Game Boy SP shell weighs, which was a bit tricky because I didn't have any shells laying around that I could weigh myself. But luckily enough, I found a supplier that listed the weight of only the shell, which is 60 grams. So how heavy would it be if it's pure gold? Well, as most of you know, gold is very dense and therefore heavy, around 20 times heavier than plastic. So that shell would weigh 1.2 kilograms, or more than 2.6 pounds. And then if you add the parts, it would be around 1.3 kilograms, or almost 2.9 pounds. This would make it twice as heavy as a Steam Deck, a console that is easily 6 times bigger than the Game Boy SP. So if Nintendo actually made a real solid gold Game Boy SP, it would weigh a ton. But how much would it cost? Well, the gold alone would cost more than $91,000, and then you would also have to pay for the labor costs. But that would most likely be quite low compared to the price of the gold, because you can buy shells made out of pure aluminium or copper for around $130. So to be honest, buying one of the original 25,000 Minish Cap Game Boy SPs for $100,000 is a big waste of money, because you can actually get a real gold one for a similar price. And maybe one day, I will be able to get one. Let's hope that this video gets 300 million views, because that would help with paying the bill. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button. It really helps out, and more videos are on the way. And I hope you enjoyed exploring this little topic. I've been infatuated with this thing for a while. But now that I know that it's not like solid gold, I'm a bit disappointed. But hey, maybe if Dr.Wily goes baller one day, we'll get a solid gold one and I'll post it on Twitter.